Hey there, friends. It's Beck, the feminist lawyer. Let's talk about ghosting. I am sorry about this. I don't know what to do about it, so I'm going to try to angle my head so it's not so much of a problem. I just wanted to let you know that here I am, conflict manager, giving you my full-throated permission to ghost if you feel like you need to. Now, if any of you have been following my content up to this point, I talk a lot about going no contact, about withdrawing your energy from people and relationships that aren't serving you. And when you think about it, the principles of ghosting and the principles of going no contact are pretty similar. It's just the stakes are different. So when you hear somebody talking about going no contact, that is usually someone who has had like a long-standing relationship with someone who has tried a whole bunch of ways to try to fix the relationship, and it's just gotten to the point where it's like, I can no longer healthily interact with this person. So they decide to go no contact. A lot of times these decisions have been preceded by years and years and years of work or therapy or low contact or limited contact, gray rocking, all sorts of those coping strategies that you can use with somebody in a relationship, that is strained. But eventually, there are some relationships where you're just like, perhaps the other person is not meeting you halfway, that it's never going to change and it's only ever going to continue to hurt you, or you might be in some danger, whether emotionally or personally, physically in danger. You get to a point where you're just like, I can no longer continue this and justify it due to the negative consequences that this relationship has for me. So you go no contact. There's a lot that precedes that. Ghosting tends to be used when you're talking about like a friend or like somebody that you're kind of talking to, somebody that maybe you're considering dating or hooking up with or something like that, where suddenly a person just kind of stops talking to you, becoming a ghost. And I know I'm going to get a lot of blowback for this. People think ghosting can be, and it can be, this is valid, that ghosting hurts. It can be kind of rude or even seen as cowardly by a lot of people. Why, you don't have the guts to tell me exactly how, whatever. And I have to kind of push back on some of that. Now, I think ghosting can be used nefariously. It can be used because of cowardice, or it can be used in an offensive way, an offensive, not just like I'm offended. I mean, like I'm going on the offense. I'm trying to hurt you. It can be used in a manipulative way. And that's not really what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is when you have gone into a situation, like let's say you're on your second date with this guy and he says something like how, he muses something misogynistic or lets you in on some kind of fantasy that he has that like really puts you off and makes you feel like you're in danger, or he says something bigoted or dangerous or really really gross or offensive to your personal standards and needs, something that really really puts you off. I absolutely give you permission to ghost that person, particularly if you are an AFAB dealing with an AMAB. So AFAB being assigned female at birth and AMAB being assigned male at birth. So even if you're not AFAB, if you are a trans woman, this applies too, because femme presenting people tend to have the same kind of issues here. Actually, trans people in general are have safety issues when it comes to dating, particularly. But if you are a party that feels systemically disadvantaged in any way, or even physically disadvantaged in any way, or even economically disadvantaged in any way as compared to the other person, I give you full permission to ghost as soon as you get the ickies. Go look up femicide statistics and check out how many of those occurred between intimate partners. It will shock you, even if you think you know stuff. I can't remember who said it, but it's absolutely true. Like when a man is dating a woman, he hopes she won't laugh at him. And when a woman is dating a man, she hopes he won't kill her. And then we also have ghosting in friendship situations. So, somebody could sort of withdraw their energy, and they might not full ghost, but you feel them kind of turning down the temperature on the interactions, kind of turning down the intimacy of the interactions, and perhaps no longer answering at all. And this is what in my practice I refer to as just a withdrawal of your energy, where you've decided that the energy that you have been giving to this relationship or this person or whatever this other person's needs are, it's no longer, it's detrimental to you in some way, and you have to, staunch the bleeding. You're trying to stop sending all of that energy down a path that potentially, when the maintenance of the relationship could hurt you, whether emotionally or in however many ways that harm can happen in relationships. And there are a lot of folks that have been on the receiving end of this who, demand explanations. Like, they want you to fess up to what you're, to what you, the issue that you have, that they want to force you to the table to fix a relationship that you have already deemed is not fixable. And even if you're not of the mindset that it's completely unfixable, maybe you just need a break. I'm here to give you permission to take that break. I'm going to give you permission to withdraw your energy from situations that are sucking you dry in a bad way. And my reasoning for that is this. You're not ever going to be able to have a productive relationship healing conversation if you are just spent. If you have nothing left, if you are irritated, if you're in an emotional state, if you're in a state of adrenal activation, you are not ever going to be able to have that really productive conversation with another person that's going to heal that relationship. You're not ever going to be able to do that if you're burnt out. Even, we might not even be talking about like the full come to Jesus, like let's rehabilitate this relationship conversation. It could just be a, hey, I haven't heard from you in a while. Is everything okay? Are you all right? You don't even need to have that conversation when you're burnt out, because you're probably not going to answer it very well. Your energy is yours. Your time is yours. No one can take that from you. The exception to this would be children you chose to bring into the world. If they exist because of a choice you made, then you owe them your time. Other than that, it is totally okay to take a step back, to withdraw your energy, to go quiet, and evaluate whether or not this is a relationship that can be fixed. You determine the timeline of conflict, not the other person. You determine when you feel comfortable coming in and handling a situation, because walking into it before you're ready is never going to get the result that either party wants. And it is absolutely also okay to be like, whoa, I cannot give this person what they need. This person needs something from me that I am not prepared to give them, or that I don't have, or that I refuse to give them. So I'm going to step away from this relationship and then just end it. That's okay too, because you know what? Being ghosted hurts. It really does. You're going to hurt that person by ghosting them. But you know what also hurts? Being told why the other person wants to ghost you. And the only person that could potentially be helped by that conversation is the person that is getting ghosted. And that only in a very, very small percentage of relationships, because the person who's getting ghosted has to be open to the conflict. They have to be willing to self-assess and change that situation. And usually if you're dealing with a person who's like open and willing to self-assess and that you feel safe bringing an issue to, that's not a person you're trying to ghost in the first place. The people you're trying to ghost are the people that you're not safe to talk to, or are draining you to the point that you just don't have any more to give them. And this is not a relationship that's going to serve you in any way. You won't feel compelled to ghost people that have given you that feeling of safety and that desire to commit to the restoration process. Those are not generally the people that you're trying to ghost, because you fix those problems. They come up and you fix them, and because you feel safe about talking about it. My point is that it's not going to help the ghoster at all. It's only going to hurt the ghoster. And you are not that person's therapist. They can take it to a professional. Take a step back. You got my permission. And stay safe out there, friends. Keep fighting that good fight.